Do you own a financial planning firm, but you're having trouble finding top tier talent? You know, I am blown away, it would be the term, by the amount of time and money that firm owners are wasting on attracting top tier talent and trying to attract top tier talent when actually the process is really no different than how they acquire clients. If you'd like to know what I'm talking about and how you can attract top tier talent the same way you attract your ideal client, then stick around for today's video on 5 steps to crafting a client journey that draws top talent. Now, there's one thing you need to notice about this whole thing before we get started. There's one myth I have to dispel, because if you can't get past this in your mind, then you're going to short circuit your success. And that is the myth that people trump process. I will say that again. The myth that people trump process will keep you from attracting top tier talent. Here's why. First of all, it's false. Process trumps people. And here's what I mean by that. If you hire the best talent in the world to be on your team, but they do not understand how you attract clients, they do not understand the transformation you give clients, they do not understand how your business runs, what you're going to have is a frustrated team, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to perpetuate the negative ROI cycle. What is the negative ROI cycle? This is the time from when you hire your talent and you're paying them a salary, you are paying them benefits, you're supplying them with benefits, and you're usually taking existing team members that are already revenue positive in order to train and onboard that new person. And this can last from up to 18 to 24 months. And what you want to do is reduce that negative ROI cycle. It's pretty hard to eliminate it, but you want to reduce it. So, understanding that the myth of people trumping process is going to help you break that negative ROI cycle. Now, imagine this for just a second, just to bring my point home. Imagine that you have the dream team. As great and as talented as the dream team is, could you imagine Michael Jordan trying to play center or Patrick Ewing trying to play point guard? You got you have personnel that is in the wrong spot. The wrong spot is because the process is not installed. There's plays that you need to run that only the point guard can do, right? And only the center can post up, down low, okay? So this is the importance of having a good process no matter the level of your talent. You definitely don't want to have your talent frustrated by knowing that they have more potential, but your process doesn't allow them to reach it, okay? So let me share with you these 5 steps that you are going to initiate in your process that is not only going to attract your ideal client avatar, but also attract top tier talent. Now, the first thing we need to do is define some terms real quickly. Ideal client avatar. This is the person that you're making your offer for. What is your offer? Well, your offer is the thing that you sell that your ideal client avatar already wants to buy. They're already desiring this particular thing. So there's not manipulation and convincing and all this other kind of stuff that you normally see in a sales process. These are things that they're already desiring. So there's a natural attraction to what you're doing. And if you want more of the science behind that, you can look up my video, Stop Searching and Start Being Found. Okay? So let's get into this. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to build your findability. Build your findability. What does that mean? Well, consider that for just a second, you have the best strategy in the world to help pre-retirees and retirees retire better than they ever imagined. The only problem, no one knows you exist. You're not findable. You are not putting out enough content or content at all that talks about how you help pre-retirees and retirees retire better than they ever thought. What do you do to solve this problem? Well, the same way you solve your problem with getting your ideal client avatar to find you is the same thing that's going to get the top tier talent attracted to you. So one thing you're going to do, I'll just give you one idea around this, is you're going to produce what is called community-based service content. This is content that you will put out into the public domain that talks specifically to the special group of people with the specific set of problems that you solve. Okay? Special group of people, specific set of problems that you solve. Now, what this is going to do, and this is how it works all together with your client avatar and attracting talent, is once you put out enough of that content, you're going to stabilize your lead flow. And when you stabilize your lead flow, you're going to also give yourself steady work to do. Top tier talent is going to be attracted to environments that have ongoing work for them to do. They don't want to be in an unstable environment where they don't know if the doors are going to be open tomorrow or shut today. That is not where they want to go. That's not where they're going to be attracted to. They're going to be attracted to environments where they can ascend their career ladder and the career path, and that means that there's going to be opportunities for them to grow and develop. Okay? Step number 2 is you're going to build your brand's digital footprint. Okay? So we're going from building your findability to now building your brand's digital footprint. Now, I often coach, excuse me, younger advisors, and I challenge them to clean up their digital footprint. And what do I mean by cleaning up your digital footprint? Well, what happens when you type your name into Google? Same thing that's happening when your ideal client avatar does it, or anybody that works for your firm. Okay? What comes up? As a firm and as a brand, you want to make sure that this person searching, ideal client avatar or your top tier talent, that they're actually finding results that you want to be associated with. How do you do that? Well, let's go back to step number 1, being findable. You're producing this community service-based content out there on YouTube or on Facebook, on whatever platform you choose, that is showing how you solve the problem of that special group of people. Okay? Now, what you should do to validate this is you should type in your name or your brand or your firm's name alongside what you want to be known for and see what results you get. You might be surprised. And if you don't like what you see, just know that this is what your brand has been associated with. And again, you can change this by stepping up your findability with the type of content you want to be associated with. So, for instance, if you want to help pre-retirees and retirees retire better than they ever thought imaginable, then you need to start creating content around how these particular problems that these pre-retirees face are solved by the type of offer and the solution that you use in your firm. Okay? I'll let you know this too. When I am coaching and training aspiring financial professionals and career changers, and I'm helping them figure out what type of firm do they want to work for, I'm asking them to create the short list of firm qualities, of culture, of how they help. And these things are found in your ADV and they're found on your website. And so the same set of criteria that a prospective client would be looking for is the same criteria that a very astute and attuned top tier talent level person is going to be looking for when they're searching about your firm. Okay? Step 3, you're going to broadcast your knowledge of the problem. Broadcast your knowledge of the problem. Now, let's be clear about something. The financial services industry in 2025 is inundated with a lot of gurus throwing around solutions, right? Information and data and just solutions are contained in all this information, and it begins to be noisy. And if you want to rise above the noise and this, let's say, abundance of guru talk and information, if you want to distinguish yourself from that, you're going to have to do what I call increase your perceived value. Okay? Now, I have to pause here and kind of explain this concept, because a lot of, I know this from talking with a lot of advisors, that they don't understand the difference between your perceived value and your intrinsic value. Okay, so in an ideal situation, this is your total value of your offer. Now, what you need to understand is that this part is the intrinsic value. This is the time you put in to building your offer. This is the pieces. This is the software you may use. This is all the personnel you may have. And what I'm going to tell you is that in the public's mind, in their mind, the intrinsic value has little to do with their problem. It does not equate solutions to them. However, the perceived value, let's go back to this total value again. This intrinsic value down here, the perceived value here, though, is what you want to focus on. That's what you want to change, the perceived value. This is the, in their mind, let's draw your, this is what they're thinking about when they think about the payoff, when they think about the transformation. More simply, what they get. Okay? So you can easily, I would say, not easily maybe, but simply broadcast your knowledge of the problem and make sure you focus on the intrinsic value. I'm sorry. Make sure you focus on the perceived value, not the intrinsic value. Remove your focus from the intrinsic value and focus on the perceived value. That's one way you can do it, okay? You acknowledge that part, that the perceived value is what they're going after and not the intrinsic value. So the next thing you can do is you can acknowledge their pain points, okay? You can acknowledge the fact that, let's say you want to work with real estate investors. What you'll start thinking about is, as a real estate investor, what are some of the things that would cause them from closing deals? Let's all acknowledge that real estate investors want to close more deals, right? They want this ability to see the real estate they want to take down, get it closed quickly, get it flipped, get it rented out, whatever, make it cash flow, however their strategy is, right? But the impediment to that is going to be the funding that they need in order to take down that deal, right? So you need to start thinking through, what are the friction points in getting funding? What are some of the things that my particular solution offers that all their current approaches don't have, right? That's understanding their pain points or acknowledging their pain points. And then you apply a customized solution. So you acknowledge the perceived value, ignore the intrinsic value, you acknowledge their pain points, and then you apply a customized solution. So in the same, let's stay with that example. Let's say that the real estate investor is wanting to take down a deal. Well, what if your solution bypassed traditional funding? Like bypass all the hoops of the bank loan applications and the tediousness of that and the cumbersome, all the things, all the underwriting, all that kind of stuff. What if you had a solution that bypassed all that? Well, I'm going to offer to you that your perceived value of your offer, whatever that offer is through the roof. Similarly, with your attracting top tier talent, what you've now done is you've created this culture of problem solving that instills to the talent you're trying to attract, that you have clarity around what you're doing. It shows passion, it shows clarity, it speaks of all these particular things when you hone in on figuring out how to address those 3 pain points that I gave you, or those 3 issues that I gave you, right? Acknowledging the perceived value, acknowledging the pain points, and applying a customized solution. What you then start to do, the message you send, the signal that you send to anyone wanting to join your firm is this problem-solving culture that's communicating passion and clarity, okay? Now, this is key because later, in just a few minutes, I'm going to share with you the top 3 things that that talent that you want to attract is looking for, and also what repels them. Okay, so step 4, you're going to break away from the idea of onboarding clients to adopting the idea of giving them experiences. I'll say that one more time. Break away from the idea of onboarding clients and adopt the idea of giving them experiences. Now think about this. Think about the very last time you went to or had a great dining experience at a restaurant. When you talked about this with your friends or whoever, did you tell them about how the valet took your keys when you first got there, and then when you got in the restaurant, you sat down at the bar, and then when you sat down at the bar, you know, they gave you your drink or you had a drink, and then you went to your table and you looked at the menu and you ordered? No, that's a checklist. No, that's not exciting. Nobody wants to hear about that. What they want to hear about is that when you drove up to the restaurant and the valet took your keys, you know, they actually knew your name, right? They said your name, Mr. Henderson, or, you know, that they did that. Or when you sat down at your table, you know, they put the napkin on for you, and they pulled out your chair for you. Like, those are the things you're thinking about. You're thinking about how you were made to feel while you went through the checklist of things that they did, right? Well, everybody wants to feel that way. Just newsflash. Everybody wants to feel that way. And I think you have to ditch the idea of your onboarding checklist, and you have to adopt the idea of, how do I present or cultivate this opportunity for my clients to have an experience that's tactile, that is transformative, that's engaging, that's all those different things, right? Now, you can't do this alone. You need a team to do this, right? So I think when you're thinking about this, you need to be thinking about this from the standpoint of what attracts top tier talent to a culture like that. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. And I think this is validated by what I'm about to say, is that whenever there's a reservation to be made, or a waiting list to be on, or a line that you see, people are validating the value of that experience to the extent that there is more demand than supply. Just think about it. If there's a line somewhere, if there's a waiting list, that means more people want to get in than there are seats for people to get in and sit down in, when we're talking about a restaurant. And I think that same phenomenon, when you build this experience for your ideal client avatar and you get away from this idea of onboarding, that is just going to attract people to it because it's attractive. It is what it is. So you need to be thinking that I need to create this idea of there's more demand than supply. And then you're going to get top tier talent that's attracted to that. Okay? All right. Y'all tracking with me? Step 5. Become a strategic partner and not just an advisor. This is so huge. Become a strategic partner and not just an advisor. There was a study done by Accenture several years ago that basically said 91% of clients are looking to work with someone that gets them. Daniel Crosby on my podcast says it this way. He says that clients are basically saying that they want a buddy that understands a whole lot about financial markets. This is what your ICA wants. Now, how do you execute on this? Because you can't do it alone. And it comes again from creating this culture at your firm where you are not just managing, but you're also empowering people along the way. Management without empowerment is a no-no. Now, what does management with empowerment look like versus management without empowerment? Management with empowerment looks like this feedback. It looks like this open dialogue. You know, a lot of people say they have open door policies. Well, what does that mean? It means that not only are expectations being set and just put out into the environment, but there's actually some post-mortem that comes. There's feedback. There's a feedback loop to see what was done right or wrong so that you can improve the process. Let's say that you have Miss Smith. Mrs. Smith is your client. She meets with someone on your team and she's not satisfied with that meeting. She's not satisfied. It was something went wrong, whatever. Well, management with empowerment looks like you reaching out to Miss Smith yourself to get her side of the story, get her feedback about that experience. And then you take the person or people that met with her on your team to get their feedback and their experience. And then together, with what you understand and what they understand, you improve the process. You find out what was done right, you find out what was done wrong, and you improve the process. All right? Now, the research that I was going to share with you talks about 3 things that should look like in order to attract top-tier talent. The first thing is you got to make sure that you are fostering an environment with autonomy and empowerment, okay? So these skilled professionals, these top-tier talent people, they're going to value environments where they're trusted to make the right decision. And they're given the freedom to kind of innovate, okay? Not the micromanaging, not that. Not this rigid structure, okay? They want this ongoing feedback loop. The second thing is they want purpose and meaning that there's got to be a very clear, articulated vision and mission and stated purpose of what you do, who you help, how you help them, and why. Okay? And thirdly, they want opportunities for growth and development. So these are people that invest in themselves personally and professionally, and they want environments in which the firm invest in them personally and professionally. So you can't get away from those three ideals that these top tier talent is looking for. Okay, so if you create a process that builds your findability, builds your brand's digital footprint, broadcasts your knowledge of the problem, breaks away from the idea of onboarding clients and adopts the idea of giving them experiences, and becomes a strategic partner and not just an advisor, if you do these 5 things, you will not only attract your ideal client avatar, but you're going to attract top tier talent. Now, you may be thinking that this is a little hard to pull off. It may be kind of blowing your mind. Well, I want you to make sure you check out the video on the cure for negative ROI. That's going to help you understand a little bit more about what you need to do and give you some simple next steps. And of course, if this video has been helpful, make sure you like, share it, and comment on it, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, my friend.